subscribed with notifications on and set to all, make sure you go ahead and do that so you know all the latest and hottest tea as soon as it is spilled. Anyway, before I get into the video, I wanted to point out that both Kenna and Betty have selflessly dedicated a lot of their time to getting to the bottom of what exactly is going on with these lipsticks. So I wanted to take a moment to thank them both for their time, energy, and money that they both spent and put into this. If you haven't done so already, I would like it if you went and thanked them both for their work as well. As for Kenna, she did in fact get her lab results back, so let's get into it. I know I didn't talk much about the videos that came out about these lipsticks, specifically from Raw Beauty Christy, Kristen Leanne, Pretty Pastel Please, and several others. But for a quick recap for those who were living under a rock and just coming back to the internet after an extended break for whatever reason, Jaclyn Hill launched her own lipstick line and crap hit the fan. People were getting lipsticks that were obviously contaminated, some had black holes in them, some had fuzz, and some even found plastic shards and even beads of plastic in their lipsticks. And in the most extreme cases, some found metal in theirs, such as Pretty Pastel Please in this clip here.
Oh, this is the one that has the fleck! Look, look, look. Look at that. Look, see how I move it? When I move it, you can see, clear as day, that is reflective. That's definitely metal. Oh, perfect photo. You can see it clear as day. Alright. What are you? Okay, so I've put the tape over it so you can't quite see it as well with the tape over, but feeling it, it's rock solid. That's not glitter, it's like three-dimensional. There's definitely something to that. That's like a piece of metal. Will I find anything else? Look, you probably can't tell. On the end of the pin there is another little reflective metal bit. It's covered in lipstick because it's come from further in the tube, but that's definitely metal. See that? It's covered in lipstick, but it's shiny, it's reflective. Now I've found two. Look at that. On the end of the needle there, look at that. See on the end of my nail there? There, you can see it clear as day. Look at that. Okay, so just to prove a point, so you can see the little piece of metal is right there. And I'm going to prove that it's metal because here's a magnet. This is just like an everyday fridge magnet. I'm just going to hover, look, I have a little safety pin just here, just to prove that this is a magnet. Oop, there you go. So see, it's a magnet. I'm going to hover it over this little thing that I suspect to be metal, just here on the end of my fingernail. Look at that. Sticking to it perfectly. There you go. If that's not metal, I mean, I don't know what is. It's sticking to a magnet. Like, what else can I say? That's wild. Look at it. Gee. And you know what? I found 3 pieces like that. 3.
As for Raw Beauty Christy, she also did a very in-depth video about these lipsticks. I spoke about the drama about her status on Jaclyn's PR list in one of my previous videos about this. Long story short, she tweeted that she was having trouble purchasing the lipsticks online when they went up for sale, but that she eventually managed to grab the bundle which had all 20 shades. Jaclyn saw her tweet and responded to her and told her that she was on the PR list and that she was going to be getting them the very next day. Well, needless to say, this caused a lot of confusion and drew her business ethics into question, many citing their reasoning as to how can she claim to be a CEO who has been working on this brand for 5 years yet can't even bother getting the PR system right. Obviously, the discovery of these foreign objects and suspicious characteristics caused mass concern. Raw Beauty Christie even examined these under a microscope to see what was going on with these lipsticks. But back to the test results, I want to talk about Betty's test. Keep in mind, I have no idea what a lot of this stuff even means because I'm not a scientist. Now keep in mind, I will not be reading all the tweets out loud because on her Twitter, she has over 100 tweets about the lab process, and I'm going to be just reading the ones that stood out to me the most. However, if you want to go through her Twitter and watch both of her videos, I will link all that stuff down below. Anyway, here's her tweets. Her first tweet on June 10th, 2019 says, Lab Geek here, over 25 years experience in quality control. Does anyone have a contaminated lipstick or set from Jaclyn Cosmetics they could send me? I want to do some fiber analysis, high power microscopy, and yeast and mold testing. The next day she tweeted out and said, okay, now I'm playing with beeswax and mango butter. Both make little beads when not cooled rapidly. Mango butter melts easily on human skin. Beeswax melts easily when rubbed between fingers. I think I have an idea. 2 days later, on June 13th, she said, for the purpose of documentation and transparency, I have managed to borrow a camera and will film all the testing done as well as take photos. Control samples of other lipsticks will be tested side by side with Jaclyn Cosmetics lipsticks. After many calls to certified labs that we use for testing, I have confirmed that I will not be able to perform rancidity testing on the lipstick, step 3 of my original protocol. The test relies on color change upon filtration, and the pigments would interfere with accurate results. As you might gather by this tweet, people did in fact send their lipsticks into her, and she tweeted and said, when it rains it pours, documenting the receipt of Jaclyn Cosmetics lipsticks trio from Twitter follower. Thank you. Delivered via USPS June 14th, 2019, 1 p.m. CDT. These are reported to be unopened. For the record, the extraction was not done on a Jaclyn Cosmetics lipstick. It's a red drugstore lipstick. I was just testing to see if it was possible to extract the oils, waxes, and butters from the pigment. I won't be doing anything with the Jaclyn Cosmetics lipsticks and controls without telling you. PSA, I have enough samples to begin testing next week. If you have a product that has injured you or caused illness, please see a physician and contact an attorney if you choose to do so. I cannot certify any results that I may be able to provide. June 20th, 2019, 10:27 a.m. CDT, documenting the receipt of non-sterile single Jaclyn Cosmetics lipstick in the color Hot Toddy from a Twitter subscriber. Thank you. Clear evidence of contamination. Time to get the microscope out today. And the same day, she tweeted out and said, 6/20/2019, 10 p.m. CDT, 48-hour microbial test, all samples negative so far. Last thing for tonight, I melted 3 of the samples I used earlier on glass plates at 185 degrees Fahrenheit to kill any bacteria/mold present. Then I injected mold into the center of each one. I want to see how easy or hard it is to get mold to grow in lipstick and if there is any difference between the 3. She posted photos of control samples from Morphe, MAC Cosmetics, as well as Jaclyn Cosmetics. The next day, she tweeted out and said, 6/21/2019, 10:05 p.m. CDT. 72-hour microbial test. Preliminary positive yeast/mold results on the lid sample of JCGC05AHT. This is from a swab of the cap of a component. No lipstick sample or showing any growth. Will recheck in 24 hours. Now, please remember that tweet. It's going to be important later on. 6/23/2019, 8:12 p.m. CDT, approximately 120-hour microbial check. Confirmed positive yeast/mold results on lid sample of JCGC05ACF. I had mislabeled the sample on my 72-hour results. This is Control Freak, not Hot Toddy. This is from a swab of the cap of a component. All other samples negative. Again, remember that tweet as well. Also worth noting is the fact that Betty was in fact approached by Jaclyn Hill's team asking her if she could send their lipsticks to them in this email here, as well as her response. The email to her reads, Hi Betty, we're reaching out about the So Rich lipstick testing you're sharing on social media. Jaclyn Cosmetics takes product safety very seriously and we'd love an opportunity to dig deeper into the findings. Can you please share the full report of testing with us so we can conduct a full investigation? If you would also please share your order confirmation with us, that would help to better identify the lipsticks in question. Thanks so much. We look forward to hearing from you. Now, is it just me or were they just trying to find like where she lives and all this stuff stuff so that they could further harass her. Anyway, here is Betty's epic clapback. I heard Miss Hill is paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to conduct her own testing. Certainly that'll suffice to provide you with the answers to any questions you may have. If you have any further questions about sufficient quality control measures for future launches, you may inquire about my consulting fees. Keep it bougie, Betty Wilder. I loved Betty's response to Jaclyn and her team. It's pretty much how I would have responded, except I don't think it would be possible for me to be nearly as polite to them as Betty was. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but why the hell would Jaclyn need Betty's lipsticks after she took to her Instagram stories to say this?
I have sent out my lipsticks to 5 different labs, 5 different places that test product and vigorously, and spent over $100,000 on this process.
What I really want to know is what labs require her to pay a grand total of $100,000 between all 5 of them when Kenna was charged pennies in comparison, which I will be mentioning in a moment. Anyway, as for the lab itself, information about where these lipsticks were allegedly created has come to light. So yes, I do have a video coming out about that, as I also spoke to the lab on the phone and had a rather odd experience. For those that don't know, Kenna Whitnell is a Canadian biochemist who works in this area for a living, so she had the lipstick sent to a lab and thousands of us were waiting on the edges of our seats for her results to come back. Especially since a video she uploaded about these called Jaclyn Cosmetics Lipsticks First Impressions Biochemist Perspective went viral and received over 1.3 million views. In that video, she gave a very in-depth explanation on what could possibly be happening to these lipsticks and laid it all out in such a simple way that made even people like myself understand what she was saying. Anyway, last night Kenna tweeted this out. Hey science babes, the reports are in. Part 2 of Jaclyn Cosmetics is tonight. Turn on those notifications. Video will be up as soon as it's filmed and edited. A few hours after this, Kenna's video called Jaclyn Cosmetics Lipsticks Microbial Report Biochemist Perspective Part 2 went live, and here is what she had to say.
So this testing cost me a total of $406.80 Canadian. It's about like $100 per test because I did 4 different sample sizes for the microbial testing. And it does take about 5 to 7 days with the lab once they receive the samples and they're processed. And moving on to the Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics sample number 1. So what does this mean? Well, it means that all of these samples are negative for microbial contamination as far as all of the tests that I did. But is the product contaminated? Well, I think that we all visually saw from all the, the microscope videos, all of the close-up videos. Yes, this product is contaminated. If you can see something in a product, it is definitely contaminated. But my biggest concern was for human health and safety and the things that you maybe can't see. So from my reports, there is no microbial contamination in these products, but that doesn't mean that they're not contaminated with something else because we all saw that they are. But from my accounts, there is actually no microbial contamination in both of the samples that I sent in for testing with the Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics lipsticks.
And now back to the tweets that I told you to remember a few moments ago, because I know some people were left confused due to Betty's test containing mold while Kenna's did not. I want to point out that Betty also tested the component, which is the tube and packaging itself, and that is what tested positive for mold, not the lipstick itself, and Betty made this clear during her test. My theory for this reasoning of the component having mold growth and not the actual lipstick itself circles back to the theory that these lipsticks are in fact expired. I still believe that to this very day, and I feel like even if the lipsticks themselves are not old and expired, then the components themselves are old, and clearly this lab did not take the necessary steps to properly sanitize and disinfect these tubes before placing the product into them. But more on that crusty, busted lab in my next video. Now, I am relieved that these did not contain mold or other microbial contaminants that could possibly cause illnesses among people who have autoimmune diseases or allergies to mold. There are some people, however, who obviously disagree with me and are saying that these test results will only give Jaclyn Hill, her family, and her stands more ammunition against all of us. But you know what I have to say to that? I'd rather see these lipsticks test negative for those types of contaminants and know that people with autoimmune diseases and other illnesses and have the individuals from Snake Cosmetics celebrate their small victory over all of us, than to see someone get hurt and sick from these lipsticks which would permanently cancel Jaclyn. Jaclyn's cancellation time will come, but that time is not today for the time being. Although I do have to say that I am glad that more and more people are waking up to her lies and what she is all about. I know there's many of us, myself and the Viper Chicks included, who did the Jaclyn Hill series, who have been on the sidelines watching Jaclyn lie to her audience and take advantage of them. In a sense, Jaclyn did get away with it this time around, but next time she will not be so lucky, I can guarantee that. Fact of the matter is, these lipsticks are still contaminated in other ways due to the presence of foreign substances that I mentioned earlier, such as fuzz, allegedly rat and dog hair, black holes, plastic and metal shards, and even beads, among other things. This lab should really be ashamed of themselves for being so careless with these lipsticks. And Jaclyn should also be ashamed of herself for the way that she handled everything from beginning to end. Call me naive, or that person who is just like one of those parents who gives their kid endless chances, holding out for the fact that they hope that they will get everything right eventually and take responsibility. But I'm gonna say it, I hope that this is a learning lesson for Jaclyn Hill. She is no longer just a beauty guru, but is now a CEO and has to act like it instead of running away and deactivating her social media. Had she just recalled the lipsticks the moment these contaminants were brought to light, I feel this situation would not have blown up into nearly as big of a mess that it currently is. And no, giving everyone refunds, shutting down your website, and deactivating social media while having your loved ones post on social media on your behalf as if you died does not equate to a recall. Anyway, that's it for this video. As always, let me know what you think of all this down below, and if you're not already subscribed, then go right ahead and do that. Also, hit that notification bell and set it to all notifications